AM demanded I let her son play with my new iPhone. Backstory: my old phone, iPhone 6s Plus, got water damaged and was almost unusable. So we brought it to the Genius Bar to see if we could get it fixed. They couldn't. I was going to get a new phone with my mom, and I was expecting one of their earlier phones, so you could imagine how shocked I was when she let me get the 11. I was so happy with it. Back to the story. It was about that time when I had to get flu shots, so my mom and I went to get them. This is in England, so there are the two seats next to each other facing forward in rows. And behind us there is a M and a K. My mom leaves to go get snacks from the back thing of the train. That's when the EK strikes. He leans over the seat and watches me play Crossy Road for a while. I'm fine with this because he wasn't doing anything harmful or annoying to me. He asks me for a turn, which I politely declined. I didn't have a case or screen protector yet, so I didn't want him to drop it or get fingerprints on the screen. He goes back to EM and from what I can hear says, "That kid said I couldn't play with his phone," in that annoyed tone. The EM gets out of her seat and comes to talk with me. I explain how it is new and she kind of calms down and goes back to her seat and says to her kid that it's new, but the kid stands on his seat and bends over the back of my seat and tries to snatch my phone. My bad, but I push his arm out of the way because I didn't know what he was going to do with it. The EM is furious now and is barking at me. I felt so embarrassed because everyone on the train was looking at me weird. I tell her sorry, but luckily my mom comes back and tells her to back off. And then they start arguing. After a little while they seem to calm down a little bit, but they are still mad. A voice goes over the speaker and says, "Our stop," and we get off and go to the doctor. I hope we never have to see them again. My mom technically roofied me. I know this belongs on Insane Parents, but as you cannot post text, I'm here because it fits here too. A little backstory. I have extreme sleep apnea, not the type that makes you snore, but the type that wakes you up right as you are drifting off to sleep, gasping for air because your body forgot to breathe for the past 30 seconds or so. Because of this, I get very little sleep. I was never close to my parents, as they seemed to follow the same trend as every parent on this page. They'd be extremely overbearing and would gaslight the hell out of me. Anyway, all that kinda went away when I moved out of state to go to college. It was great. I didn't have to deal with them. I was myself. I had a girlfriend. Life was going good. Until I got the text. My mom said that she wanted to meet with me to talk. I met her at the coffee shop that she requested, at the time she requested, but I was 1.5 hours early. I don't really blame her since she's coming from out of state. When she finally got there, she didn't greet me and didn't even show emotion. I knew it was serious. Then she cracked a smile and said sorry, as if she couldn't hold back her laughter. Then she flat out told me that my great uncle had died and they had already had the funeral and were reading without even telling me. I was obviously pissed as I was extremely close to him, not only personally, but his cabin was only an hour away from me on the Fork River. She told me that I got his cabin in the will, which lowered my anger as she had at least been truthful to me, unlike other parents on here, and I can finally move out of a college dorm. Then I saw that she had that look that every mom has when they want to say something. I asked her if there was something she wanted to say. She gave me a dirty look and said, "I've heard you're going to the doctor's to help with sleep." I said, "Yeah, how did you know?" She told me it didn't matter and that I needed to mind my own business, which was quite ironic. She then said, "Why are you going? You should just take a sleeping pill." I said, "I have. In fact, I've tried almost every sleeping supplement in the book, and that doesn't help with it." In fact, when I told my doctor about it, he looked scared and told me to never try taking sleeping pills with this type of apnea. She then just said, "Huh," and then said, I forgot my sunglasses in the car. Can you go get them for me? I said sure, even though it wasn't a bright day at all. In fact, we were on the brink of one of the worst winters Missoula has ever seen. I went to the car, grabbed them, then came back and gave them to her. She said she had to go, and I was confused as to why she needed me to get her the sunglasses if she's just going to leave. I just shrugged it off, though. I stayed there for a little bit until I finished the work I was working on and continued to drink my coffee. I then headed back to my dorm, which was 2 blocks away, so I just walked. I got into the dorm, closed the door, and then I saw I had tunnel vision. My girlfriend was frantically standing over me while calling on the phone at the same time. I realized I was in my bed and that I couldn't breathe at all. I started to panic, and within a matter of seconds I was awake in the hospital. It turns out I got into the dorm, closed the door, didn't acknowledge a word my girlfriend said to me, went to the bedroom, laid down, and started sleeping. Since it was kind of late, she started getting ready for bed too. When she was finally heading toward the bed, she saw me completely arched backwards, gagging and holding my neck. I was suffocating and I didn't even know. She called 911 and the paramedics arrived just in time to get the oxygen mask on me. They later told me if they hadn't gotten there when they did, I 100% would have died. It was a quick recovery. I was in the hospital for no longer than a week. Then I got my blood test results. It turned out my mom had snuck 4 times the amount of melatonin. I'm using melatonin as a filler word, as I was too dazed to hear what it was they exactly said. That someone my size would have needed to pass out on the spot into my drink. How I didn't notice, I have no clue. But that was the final straw. I made sure to press charges as that was a near attempted murder. The judge had all the evidence they needed to prove me right, and I nearly instantly won the battle, and the restraining order was placed. The only downside is the only time I can see my brothers is with my dad only, but I'm sure they couldn't care less. Like and subscribe for more tremendous videos.